Hey guys, I'm going to continue reading the Lemonade War. We're near the end. I think there's only 2 or 3 pages left. And then we'll start our new book today if we have time. And the last time we read, Jesse and Evan were counting their money. And Evan kept telling her it was a tie. And Jesse's like, no, I won by 89 cents. And then she was hoping he'd figure out that, hey, he lost Megan's money also. Holy crud, he said suddenly. I lost Megan's money too. $104 of her money. Oh, crud. He threw himself back on his bed and covered his face with both arms. Neither of them said anything for a long time. Jesse finally broke the silence. I'm really sorry I put bugs in your lemonade. Thanks, said Evan. I'm sorry I took your and Megan's money. We shouldn't have done any of those things, Jessie said, waving her hand at the money on the bed. It ruined the end of summer. Yeah, the whole summer's been crud, said Evan. Not the whole summer, just the past 5 days. Remember we went to Bar Harbor and we swam at the pond? Jessie couldn't stand Evan thinking their whole summer had been crud. Yeah, but I think the past 5 days cancels out all of that, said Evan. I can't believe I have to tell Megan Moriarty. She likes you, said Jessie. Evan sat up surprised. Really? Yeah, said Jessie. I don't get it either, but she's always asking what you're doing and if you can play and stuff. Why do you think she does that? Cool, said Evan, smiling. So you guys are friends? Yeah, said Jessie. We're good friends. Okay then. So she'll be coming over here to play and stuff, right? That's cool. You're weird, said Jessie. Yes, I am, said Evan. And then there was a long silence. The late summer light in Evan's one-room window room had faded to black. Neither one of them wanted to turn on the light. It was nice just sitting there, just the two of them, in the cooling darkness. An afternoon breeze had kicked itself into a gusty wind, and the shade on the window tapped a steady beat that was pleasant and reassuring. This war was so stupid, said Jessie. Evan nodded in the dark. Just then they heard the sound of thunder booming in the distance. Then more and more until the whole house shook. The fireworks, shouted Jessie. Oh, snap, said Evan. Jessie and Evan ran downstairs. At the bottom of the steps, they found their mother sitting on the last step, watching the sky through the sliding glass door. Why didn't you call us? Said Evan. We're missing the fireworks, said Jessie. Oh, I figured whatever the two of you were talking about was more important than a fireworks show. Mrs. Tresky turned to look at both of her kids. Did you work it out? Evan and Jessie nodded, just as a Roman candle exploded in the sky. Not a bad seat, said Mrs. Tresky, patting the step. Enjoy. For 20 minutes, the night sky was alive with wagon wheels, party-colored dahlias, whistling glitter palms. Evan, Jessie, and Mrs. Tresky sat watching silent, but for the occasional ooh and ah that seemed to escape from their lips, like hissing air from an overblown tire. When the last of the fireworks bloomed and then faded, Jessie, Evan, and Mrs. Tresky sat in the darkness waiting. No one said anything for several minutes, and then Jessie whispered, It's over. Yes, it was. Wait, said Evan. What was that? What? Asked Jessie, straining her ears. Listen. In the distance, a boom and a rattle. More fireworks, said Evan, staring up at the dark sky. Where? I don't see them, said Jessie. All of a sudden, the sky split in two as lightning sliced the night. An explosion of thunder rolled through the house, rattling the windows and pictures on the wall. Rain poured from the sky as if a gigantic faucet had been twisted on. Yow! Shouted Mrs. Tresky, leaping from the step. Battle stations! Every window in the house was wide open, so Evan, Jessie, and Mrs. Tresky ran from the top floor to the bottom, shutting windows and sopping up puddles. The rain came down with a fury and impatience of a 2-year-old having a tantrum. As he closed the window in his room, Evan could hear the gurgle of the gutters choking on the downpour. One thing ends, another begins, said Mrs. Tresky, meeting Jessie and Evan on the stairs. She raised her index finger like a wise philosopher. Fireworks, rainstorm. Jessie raised her index finger. Summer, school. Evan raised his index finger. War, peace. Then they laughed because it was silly, the three of them acting like wise philosophers, standing on the stairs. That night, before she closed her door, Jessie whispered to Evan, who was already in bed, "Hey, I've got an idea about getting Megan's money back." And that is the end. I'll have to find out what the next book is in these. I guess it's a series, Lemonade Wars. So the next book I'm going to start today is Superfudge. I know that Dr. McGann told me that one of the parents had read to you Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and that is probably my favorite chapter book. And I read those books when I was in probably fourth and fifth grade. So today I'm going to start with the second book in that chapter series, Superfudge by Judy Blume. So chapter 1 is called, Guess What, Peter? Life was going along okay when my mother and father dropped the news. Bam! Just like that. "We have something wonderful to tell you, Peter," Mom said before dinner. She was slicing carrots into the salad bowl. I grabbed one. "What is it?" I asked. I figured maybe my father has been made president of the company, or maybe my teacher phoned saying that even though I didn't get the best grades in fifth grade, I am definitely the smartest kid in class. "We're going to have a baby," said Mom. "We're going to what?" I asked, starting to choke. Dad had to whack me on the back. Tiny pieces of chewed up carrot flew out of my mouth and hit the floor. Mom wiped them up with a sponge. "Have a baby?" Dad said. "You mean you're pregnant?" I asked Mom. "That's right," she told me, patting her middle, almost 4 months. 4 months? You've known for 4 months and you didn't tell me? "Well, we wanted to be sure," said Dad. "It took you 4 months to be sure?" "I saw the doctor for the second time today," Mom said. "The baby's due in February." She reached over and tried to tassel my hair. I ducked and got out of the way before she could touch me. Dad took off the lid to the pot on the stove and stirred the stew. Mom went back to slicing carrots. You would have thought we were discussing the weather." "How could you?" I shouted. "How could you? Isn't one enough?" They both stopped and looked at me. I kept on shouting, "Another fudge? Just what this family needs." I turned and stormed down the hall. Fudge, my 4-year-old brother, was in the living room. He was shoving crackers into his mouth and laughing like a loon at Sesame Street on TV. I looked at him and thought about having to go through it all over again. The kicking and the screaming and the messes and more, much more. I felt so angry that I kicked the wall. Fudge turned. "Hi, Peta," he said. "You're the biggest pain ever invented," I yelled. He tossed a handful of crackers at me. I raced to my room and I slammed the door so hard the map of the world fell off the wall and landed on my bed. My dog, Turtle, barked. I opened the door just enough to let him squeeze through, then slammed it shut again. I pulled my Adidas bag out of the closet and emptied it into two dresser drawers, and emptied 2 dresser drawers into it. "Another fudge," I said to myself. "They're going to have another fudge." There was a knock at my door, and Dad called. "Peter." "Go away," I told him. "I'd like to talk to you," he said. "About what?" As if I didn't know. "The baby." "What baby?" "You know what baby. We don't need another baby." "Need it or not, it's coming," Dad said. "So you might as well get used to the idea." "Never." "We'll talk about it later," Dad said. "In the meantime, scrub up. It's dinner time." "I'm not hungry." I zipped up my bag, grabbed my jacket, and opened my bedroom door. No one was there. I marched down the hall and found my parents in the kitchen. "I'm leaving," I announced. I'm not going to hang around and wait for another fudge to be born. "Goodbye." I didn't move. I just stood there, waiting to see what they'd do next. "Where are you going?" Mom asked. She took 4 plates out of the cabinet and handed them to Dad. "To Jimmy Fargo's," I said, although until that moment I hadn't thought about where I was going to go. "They have a 1-bedroom apartment," Mom said. "You'd be very crowded." "Then I'll go to Grandma's. She'll be happy to have me. Grandma's in Boston for the week visiting Aunt Linda." "Oh. So why don't you scrub up and have your dinner, and then you can decide where to go," Mom said. I didn't want to admit it, but I was hungry. And all those good smells coming from the pots and pans on the stove were making my mouth water. So I dropped my Adidas bag and went down the hall to the bathroom. Fudge was at the sink. He stood on his stool, lathering his hands with 3 inches of suds. "Hello, you must be Bert," he said in his best Sesame Street voice. "My name is Ernie. Glad to meet you." He offered me one of his sud-seed little hands. "Roll up your sleeves," I told him. "You're making a mess." "Mess? Mess? I love to make a mess," he sang. We know, I told him. I ran my hands under the faucet and dried them on my jeans. When we got to the table, Fudge arranged himself in his chair. Since he refuses to sit in his booster seat, he has to kneel so that he can reach his place at the table. "Pita didn't scrub," he said. "He only rinsed." "You little," I started to say, but Fudge was already yapping away to my father. "Hello, I'm Bert. You must be Ernie." "That's right," my father said, playing along with him. "How are you, Bert?" "Well, I'll tell you," Fudge said. "My liver's turning green and my toenails are falling off." "Sorry to hear that, Bert," my father said. "Maybe tomorrow will be a better day." "Yes, maybe," said Fudge. I shook my head and piled some mashed potatoes on my plate. Then I drowned them in gravy. Remember when we took Fudge to Hamburger Heaven and I said, and then he smeared mashed potatoes all over the wall? "I did that," Fudge asked, suddenly interested. "Yes," I told him, "and you dumped a plate of peas on your head too." Mother started to laugh. I'd forgotten all about that day. "Too bad you didn't remember it before you decided to have another baby," I said. "Baby?" Fudge asked. My mother and father looked at each other. I got the message. They hadn't told Fudge the good news yet. "Yes," Mother said, "we're going to have a baby." "Tomorrow?" Fudge asked. "No, not tomorrow," Mom said. "When?" Fudge asked. "February," Dad said. "January, February, March, April, May, June, July," Fudge recited. Okay, I said. "We all know that you're smart." 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. "Enough," I said. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, R, B, Z, Y. Will somebody turn him off?" I said. Fudge was quiet for a few minutes, and then he said, "What kind of baby will it be?" "Let's hope it's not like you," I said. "Why not? I was a good baby, wasn't I, Mommy?" "You were an interesting baby, Fudgy," Mommy said. "See, I was an interesting baby," he said to me. "And Peter was a sweet baby," Mom said. He was very quiet. "Like you had me first," I said to Mom, "or you might not have any more kids." "Was I a quiet baby too?" Fudge asked. "I wouldn't say that," Dad said. "I want to see the baby," Fudge said. "You will. Now." "You can't see it now," Dad said. "Why not?" Fudge asked. "Because it's inside me," Mom told him. Here it comes, I thought, the big question. When I asked it, I got a book called How Babies Are Made. I wonder what Mom and Dad would say to Fudge. But Fudge didn't ask. Instead, he banged his spoon against his plate and howled, "I want to see the baby. I want to see the baby now." "You'll have to wait until February," Dad said, "just like the rest of us." Now, Fudge screamed. Another 5 years of this, I thought. Maybe even more. And who's to say that they aren't going to keep having another baby and another baby after that? "Excuse me," I said, getting up from the table. I went into the kitchen and grabbed my Adidas bag. Then I stood in the doorway and called, "Well, I better be on my way." I sort of waved goodbye. "Where's Pita going?" Fudge asked. "I'm running away," I told him. "But I'll come back to visit someday." "No, Pita, don't go." Fudge jumped off his chair and ran to me. He grabbed my leg and started bawling. Pita, take me with you." I tried to shake him off my leg, but I couldn't. He can be really strong. I looked at my mother and father, and they looked down at Fudge, who gave me the same look as Turtle when he's begging for a biscuit. "If I only knew for sure what the baby would be like," I said. "Take a chance, Peter," Dad said. "The baby won't necessarily be anything like Fudge." But it won't necessarily not be like him either," I answered. Fudge tugged at my leg. "I want an interesting baby," he said, "like me." I sighed. "If you think it's going to sleep in my room, you're crazy," I told Mom and Dad. "The baby will sleep in here," Mom said, "in the dining area." "Then where will we eat?" "Oh, well, we'll think of something," Mom said. I put my Adidas bag down and tried shaking Fudge one more time. "Okay," I said, "I'll stay for now. But when the baby comes, if I don't like it, I'm leaving." "Me too," Fudge said. "Sam got a new baby, and it smells." And he held his nose. P.U. "Who wants dessert?" Dad asked. "It's vanilla pudding." I do," Fudge yelped. He let go of me and climbed into his chair. Peter, Dad said. Sure, why not? And I sat down at the table too. Mom reached over and tousled my hair. This time, I let her. Okay, I'm going to start chapter 2 the next time we're together, and see you later. Bye.